Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lockdown Large while we are in quarantine. I am your empty man with a crowded mind, and now I introduce the empty mind playing to an empty stadium, Mike Large.
Hi guys.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry, I should just say,
Beautiful. I beg your pardon.
I forgot to introduce myself, didn't I? But I'm Aaron Bliss, in case any of you have never seen this show before. And this is my cohort, Mike Large. Carry on, Mike.
Hi. Yeah. So, in case you haven't realised, football, sport. I guess sport in general we can cover, but football. That's something that we both fairly passionate about, and something that's been affected by the lockdown and its rules and regulations, restrictions. So,
Certainly has.
I mean, also more worryingly than anything that's happening anywhere else around the world, DTFC, Denton Town, have had their season cut short. So
Disgraceful.
I know, hold back the tears if you can. Finished, done, over. So we're probably going to win everything this year as well. So
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, Mike.
Go on.
I should just say, for anyone who's not aware, and if you're not aware, why the hell are you not aware?
Where have
This
you been?
is actually the 10-year anniversary of Dennington Town Reserve's glorious double winning season of 09-10.
Well, there you go.
So it's disgraceful. It's utterly outrageous that in our, I don't know, what do you call it when it's 10 years? Obviously not a centenary, but a
We
decenary, I don't know. So in the 10-year anniversary season, when we should have been celebrating the finest hour of that glorious reserve team, we've just been cast aside. It's just been forgotten about, rubbed out of history. We've been erased from history, Mike.
I mean, I'm not sure that's true, is it? That season wasn't finished. That was done. That's still there. That's
You're
still
right.
there.
No, that's in the.
It's sad that you feel that way, though. Do you
No,
want to talk about your feelings? Do you need a shoulder? Come on.
I think this time more than any other, it's definitely not the time to talk about. But
No, but it is the time to reflect on positive memories.
of
So
course. So yeah, I was just
that's all we have at the moment, isn't it? Let's be honest.
it's all we have. All we have are memories.
Good memories and try and grasp onto some hope. Because let's be honest, the present is shit.
No, that's true. I mean, sometimes it's tough when you think about. Obviously, we're living through. Well, that's a good thing. We're living through a global pandemic.
Good.
Life ground to a halt, life as we know it, and we've with everything else we've suffered, we've got a no-deal Brexit and food and medicine shortages to look forward to from the beginning next year. So it's all fun and games at the minute. As we say, Late Night Large is here to serve, and by
You're
serve,
very welcome.
we mean deliberate the finer points of things that might have escaped your attention, but are nevertheless hugely important in the social fabric. I'm talking, obviously, the beautiful, potentially infected plague-ridden game. And as Mike alluded to, there's been a lot of interesting deliberations and now decisions made on football around, I mean, let's say Europe, really. We're talking about Europe, aren't we?
Yeah.
So to
Well,
start off with, Mike, you
most.
alluded to it. What's going on with DTFC? So,
Yeah. So obviously the season was cut short.
uh-huh.
We were progressing nicely in the Junior Shield, which is
Semi-finals.
it's the biggest cup competition we play in. So it's a shame. It's a shame. We knocked out of a couple of cups, but we still had a couple of good cup runs,
Mhm.
semi-finals to look forward to. Obviously, then finals and winning the trophies because that's what we do. League position was respectable. You know, we still had every chance of finishing second. So no, yeah, realistically, we probably, but you know, it was going well. Me personally, a couple of injuries, I think I mentioned last week. So you know, maybe not my fondest season, but it was a good one for the club.
Yeah.
It's a shame it got cut short, but obviously needs must. We understand.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that's a bit interesting about it, Mike. Don't you think it's a bit bizarre when we're hearing talk of the Premier League playing to empty stadiums, then thinking back and thinking, well, that's all Donington Town did, play to empty.
Whoa! What's this?
Well, we have to cancel our season.
What is this?
Sorry.
Where's this?
I was being facetious. I am sorry, Mike. But I'm allowed to be facetious because I'm part of DTFC folklore. You know, I'm part of the fabric. I played my part. Small part.
Shouldn't have.
So can we just have a moment's silence and maybe applause, not for the NHS now, but for Donington Town? Okay.
Hang on. You can have one or the other. A moment's silence or applause. You can't have silence and applause.
Of course you can. Mental applause. Channel all your mental applause for the next 5 seconds to DTFC. May their season rest in peace. Okay, let's move on.
Yep, good. Brilliant. Yeah, so obviously that's at a local level. I think that'd be the story everywhere, up and down the country. Seasons ground to a halt, but understandably so. You move up the leagues, it's pretty much the same story. And then obviously League Two, I think I'm right in saying they decided to write the season off. Is that have you seen that? Have you read that?
I've got to be honest, Mike. I probably should have kept up to date with that. I heard rumours about it, but I don't think I've fact checked.
Yeah, no, I think they have, and the interesting one will be, you know, when you go higher and you look at the Championship as well, but the Premier League. There's so much money in the Premier League.
Go up the ladder then.
Go on.
What I'm interested in knowing is if League Two they've effectively called it a day.
Yeah.
I know. I think it's certain that they are not allowing any teams to be relegated from the league. So you know they've effectively told. I forget what it's called now. The top division of non-league. They've effectively told them, tough luck. Nobody goes up.
Conference.
Is it still called the conference?
Yeah.
Okay. So the conference has effectively been told, unlucky guys, nobody's getting promoted this year. I forget, you know, again, I'm sorry, I'm not a local football correspondent or a national football correspondent, so I haven't kept up to date with the conference to-ins and fro-ings, but I'm sure that the top of the league are going to be pretty gutted with that decision. League Two, again, so my question is, I completely understand why it would be completely unfair to remove a club's league status based on what's, you know, clearly happening.
Yeah.
But if you write off League Two, I don't see how it can be legitimate that the rest of the league system is potentially going to be restarted. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because all of the league clubs should technically be interconnected with each other's perambulations. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I get where you're going.
So what I mean is, so if League Two, yeah, we get no teams relegated from the league, so no teams promoted, so that then immediately goes up to League One. So no teams can be relegated from League One, presumably, unless they're going to come up with a very bizarre scenario to avoid that.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's slightly different relegating a team out of the league system.
No, I completely agree with that. What I meant was, if you've written off the League Two season, that means you've written off promotion. Therefore, you've then written off relegation from League One, presumably.
Oh no, I don't think they've done that. So the way I'd see it, actually, yeah, the way I see it is you draw the line under League Two. You draw the line under League Two. You say, sorry, conference, shit happens. You great. Sure, you've had a great season, but you ain't going up. League Two, don't worry about it. You fucked up. You're being relegated from League Two. But whoa, no, you're not. You're fine. You're fine. We draw a line there. You can still have promotion and relegation between the other leagues.
Again,
promotion, I think, is still happening. Therefore, relegation would still need to happen from League One.
Going to be very.
Which means promotion and relegation, which means promotion and relegation. So Leeds will be happy.
Hang on.
I think that's what
we haven't had concrete agreements with what's happening to the top divisions yet.
No, sorry. I'm just saying that's the way I see it with what they've discussed.
Okay.
What League Two have kind of said, what I kind of integrate my own feelings on what's kind of feasible. But
well, that's what we're going to have to do, isn't it? Because if we don't, either we're not aware of the perambulations that have been discussed, or obviously they haven't figured it out completely yet. All we know is effectively League Two is going to be effectively a defunct league. So presuming that what you say is true, in that they are seeking to allow the other three divisions to operate as they normally would, then you're going to have to come up with something very, let's assume the best, i.e. Premier League, Championship and League One, are all able to restart the season, let's say mid-June, mid to late June. So if that's true, then you're then going to have to come up with a very magical solution to League One, the goings-on in League One. What happens to teams relegated from League One? Are they going to be replaced by teams promoted from League Two? If they are, then on what basis do the teams from League Two get promoted? Because they haven't finished their season.
Current league standing.
The thing is,
so if you're in playoff places, you play the playoff games.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Well, what we're doing is we're coming up with our own speculations, aren't we? So
yeah, but our ideas are often better than everyone else's.
That's true. That's what I'm saying. I mean, let's throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. So
we'll tell them what to fucking do.
Of course, because that's what Late Night Large is about. We know better than anyone.
Very true.
As we've proven in the past. All we need is Wikipedia and your mouse, and there we go. Sorry, there we go.
Done.
So, what about this then, Mike? I don't think anyone could argue that it's really fair to cut off League Two as it is and go, oh, you two were in the top two positions at this this randomly arbitrary date where a global pandemic held us up. Therefore, you have earned promotion, right? So let's think that's unfair, which I think it inherently is. Here's something that's still unfair but slightly fairer. What about you take the teams in the top 4, the top 4 positions as they stand right now, and have a playoff between the top 4 of League Two and the bottom 4 teams of League One to decide who goes up or who stays up or who gets relegated?
No.
Why not?
No. For me, right?
Clive.
Yeah. If you're in an automatic promotion spot right now, automatic promotion. Because let's be honest, that's what's going to happen with the Premier League, isn't it? Yes, no decisions will be made.
I don't know, but I mean,
Liverpool are going to win the league.
we'll come to the Premier League later, right? So don't relate it to the Premier League.
No, but my point is, you can't say, well done, Liverpool, you're champions of England. Oh, unlucky. Like, I know you won League Two, but no automatic promotion. Fuck off.
Look, I don't know.
I think if you're in an automatic promotion spot, you get automatically promoted. If you're in a playoff spot, you have the playoffs.
I don't know how to.
And that's League Two, League One.
No, I don't know how to better articulate this.
Go on.
You can't just carve up.
You do struggle.
You can't just carve up a league at an arbitrary time and say, "Oh, that'll do," because the whole point is the league is based on everyone has the same conditions. Obviously, there are other variables that happen during the season, injuries, weather, whatever. But the bottom line is the fundamental fairness and integrity of the league is there because you play every one of the same teams at your home ground and away ground.
Mm-hmm.
To divide it, to just immediately hold it. Okay, so, for instance, I don't know if this is true. What if the first place in League Two is only 2 points clear of third place and has played a game more? How is that fair to cut it off and say, well, at this arbitrary time, they were in first place?
It's not fair.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not fair. But what can you do? We're not going to do anything because nothing's fair. There is no fair way of doing it. If you've got someone who is in a clear, like your suggestion, say, right, you're running away with League Two, right? But you get forced into a playoff with the bottom half of League One and the other teams from League Two, when you would have had automatic promotion. Not definitely, but I mean, you're in a strong position because you fucking earned it from the games you have actually played. How is that fair to then, if they were not to get promoted?
It's not fair with a capital F.
That's what I mean. Nothing is fair. There is no fair way of doing it.
No, but it's a lot.
You just have to find the best way.
It's a lot fairer and it has a lot more integrity than the solution you were talking about. Because, so say, what are we? I know in the Premier League there's 9 games left for most teams, 10 for some. Sorry, 9 for some, 8 for others, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. So, if that's the case, you take League Two, they've got let's say the same number of games, maybe 10. So they've got 10 games left. You telling me that the team at the top of League Two is going to be unhappy when they had 10 games left to say, listen, you're only going to have to play, let's say, 6 games, but they're playoffs, consecutive playoffs between the very top teams and the very bottom teams of the division above. That's actually easier for them to win promotion.
It's easier for them to win the promotion than if they were automatically promoted.
But they wouldn't be because there's 10 games left. There's no scenario that ever could have cropped up other than this pandemic that would ever have even raised that question.
But the pandemic did happen. So you can't just go, oh, I'm not doing it. It's not fair. You've got to do something.
Okay, do you want to hear my suggestion that I think should be applied across the board?
Probably not, but go on.
No, the season. It's such a fucking obvious idea. Oh, what? There's too much money. We have to make it a half-assed competition with no integrity, just to give Liverpool their title, just to make sure.
No, you're making it about Liverpool now. You're literally, your whole argument is just tailored towards.
No. I said that. I said that to be witty. Of course.
No.
Me
your
as
whole
well,
argument is tailored towards fucking Liverpool over.
Me and you both have a dog in this fight. We'll hold our hands up. We're not predisposed towards Liverpool.
No, but I'm trying to be impartial.
No, but no,
as best I can.
no, you don't need to try and be impartial. You just need to admit your bias, and then people can start make up their own bias. With my bias in mind, which is I don't want Liverpool to win the league, but I'm thinking of the integrity of all the other divisions. Because to me, if you force through a conclusion to the season, from what they're talking at the minute, to me, that casts a big shadow over the integrity of the whole competition. Is it really worth it to give Liverpool their title? And I'm not saying that, hang on, I'm not saying that from the perspective of, some omniscient power wanting Liverpool to win the league. I'm saying there's a lot of ex-Liverpool pundits and a lot of people who grew up supporting Liverpool who work in the media who are driving this. We must finish the season. We must finish the season.
Fucking everything's a fucking conspiracy with you, isn't it?
I knew you'd say that. The thing is about a conspiracy, Mike, is you can easily work out whether it's credible by thinking how many people need to be in on this conspiracy and how logical is it that they'd be in on it. All I'm saying is most of the people who write for newspapers grew up with Liverpool winning everything. They have a natural predisposition to want to regain that element of their youth. There's a lot.
They're not making a fucking decision about Liverpool. You're making it all about Liverpool. You can't stop talking about Liverpool.
God's sake. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned them so early, but the point of me mentioning Liverpool is, to me, and again, this is how it relates to the argument. The Liverpool thing relates to the argument because the people who are most driving this, we need to finish the season no matter what, are the print media. And that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that is, to me, that's one of the driving forces behind it.
The print media are all Liverpool fans, are they?
They want to see Liverpool get their title. I'm not saying they all necessarily support them. It's just something that they grew up with.
Why do they?
Because it's like a romantic thing. It's just.
Is it?
Oh, Mike. Anyway, I'm not going to go on with this, but
surely,
I'm really not the first person to have said this.
No, but surely, right? I mean, if they're not all Liverpool fans, right, then some of them may not give a shit about football generally, or follow a team, or.
I'm not saying.
I'm pretty sure a big number of them support other teams that aren't Liverpool, and as we know, everybody that supports another team that isn't Liverpool hates Liverpool. So everyone who's a United fan or an Everton fan or a Chelsea fan or a fucking Burnley fan won't want Liverpool to win the league.
Here's the thing, Mike. Not everyone who writes for newspapers has the same opinion. It just needs to be a general consensus. Not everyone who writes for The Sun, I'm sure, agrees with everything Rupert Murdoch thinks. But it doesn't stop them from printing it because your boss makes the rules. And again, it's not like...
Right.
It's not
so
like...
Rupert Murdoch wants Liverpool to win the league. Is that what it is?
Well, Rupert Murdoch just wants... In terms of football, he just wants to sell newspapers. So, and I don't know, still Sky subscriptions. I don't know whether he's still got majority share in that. But anyway...
Didn't he sell it?
Huh?
What did he sell?
I know he was... Because he was trying to...
Was it the shares in Sky?
And one of the conditions was he had to offload some of his ownership in Sky B. I'm not sure how that works, but anyway.
No, I'm sure he sold.
You're probably right.
Like 12 billion or something.
Anyway, maybe
the
Liverpool thing was a bit of a red herring. What is more important is the print media are obsessed with finishing the season at all costs. Mainly because they want people to go back to work to buy newspapers. They're not remotely interested in how this would affect people's health. But where do we get to? So League One. So you don't.
Well, we were talking about football and what football should do.
Yeah.
And you turned it into an argument slagging off Rupert Murdoch, basically, and print media.
Well, why would you not slag off Rupert Murdoch? Well, you must have noticed that the print media are really going overdrive about let's get the teachers back to school, lockdown needs to end. And it's certainly not based on medical advice. But
I mean, I personally couldn't give a fuck about what the print media have to say.
Yeah,
what do we think? That's what's important.
Yeah, but again, we've discussed this, right? We're critically analytical people. We're people who can read between the lines. Most people in this country can't, and that's why it's so dangerous to be saying lockdown needs to end when inadequate PPE, no mass testing, biggest death toll in Europe. So if my suggestion is apparently not good enough for you in
It's
relation
not.
to League Two, okay, so let's look at let's quickly divert to a country that has finally managed to get a grip on their COVID crisis and has actually began their season again. What do you think about the Bundesliga then restarting this weekend? Did you watch?
I think I have mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings. It's nice for some football. It's nice to get some football. Is it the right time? I mean, I don't really know. I'm not that up to date on what's happening in Germany, to be honest with you. I don't know what their situation is, what their state of play is, their, the health in their country, or how much they're on the decline, what situation they're in. I don't know. Do I think it's responsible to start the Bundesliga again? Probably not. But then there are lots of
I agree with that.
there are lots of companies, businesses, that people even that needed football to start again somewhere.
Escapism.
Huh?
Escapism.
Yeah, but also like financially from a business point of view, like betting companies, etc. They need. Oh, not that I'm about to jump into bed with them, and I think they're great and fantastic, right? So to get off your fucking high horse, I'm just saying. I can see what you're thinking. You don't even need to speak. I can see what you're thinking. I just look at your face and I know exactly what. I mean, I'm just saying. There's lots of reasons, I guess, depending on people and their own personal situations, that would suggest that it's a great thing that the Bundesliga's back, even if it's just the Bundesliga. I know there's a couple of other like really small countries that never stopped. I can't remember where they were.
It was the Belarusian.
Yeah,
Never quit.
there was another one as well. I can't think for the life of me where it was now, but they never stopped. Whatever. But yeah, Bundesliga is a big league. It's a big European league, and it's great for people in a way that it's happened. Is it responsible? Does it make there will be idiots, right, that live in England that will think everything's okay now because the Bundesliga started.
Yeah.
Or they will relax themselves more than they should because they'll think, wow, football started in Germany, so it should start here. So nothing matters. So we can get. The sad truth is, that is how people will think. That will be their takeaway from it.
I think
so
you're
from
right.
that perspective, from that perspective, probably not the most responsible decision. Strictly from a global health point of view. But I mean, I don't know. Have you seen any of the games? Do you watch them? Any of them?
I haven't, no. I was pleased to see Erling Haaland scored because I've got him in Football Index.
Well, obviously that's the important thing. That's the real reason that the Bundesliga should start, because you have shares in him.
You sneered at me criticising gambling, but I've got him in Football Index, which is technically a gambling company. So.
It is, isn't it? So hang your head.
I'm a hypocrite, am I now, Mike?
You are a hypocrite, yes. Yeah, I've said it. So, but no, I watched that game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I watched the Dortmund game. 4-0 we're out.
What was it like? What was it like without crowd atmosphere? Did it just sound like a pub kickabout?
I mean, I watched it on while I was on Zoom with the boys. So DTFC.
You
Yeah.
you had a football watching party.
Well, that wasn't the only thing we were doing. Basically, a lot of the boys were going to fly out on a football tour this weekend. So instead of being able to go on and fly away on the lash for the weekend, play a bit of football, got on and had a few beers over Zoom with each other.
It's very sweet.
Watched the Bundesliga. Bit of drinking. Had a poker game going on. Bit of a quiz.
Sorry, how the heck did you play poker over Zoom?
Not on Zoom, but we were on Zoom and playing like online poker together.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we didn't. What did you have an image in your head there? How was that?
Yeah,
how's that working for you? Like
it was like solitaire, like throwing cards. No, it's interesting because I've got a friend who I haven't seen in a while, and generally I've been handling it fine, but sometimes you do get a bit stir crazy, and I have been getting a bit stir crazy at times. And my friend had suggested playing a board game we play a lot, or rather we play when we see each other. It's a card-based game, but he suggested playing it potentially over Skype, and I was like, oh, well, we could try it over Zoom. But I think his idea, because the way I thought it had to be played is it's a two-player version of the game. So my thing was, obviously I have the game. So what I would do was, deal the cards like normal in front of the webcam, and then he would pick whatever cards. And my thinking was I would show him each card. He would take a screenshot. We do it that way. But no, he seems to think we can do it where we're both playing a version of the game. But the thing is, he doesn't have the two-player version. So I'm really not sure how he thinks it's going to work. But there we go. We'll see how it goes.
Well, let us know.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Be sure to let you know. Mike.
Let's grow. Yeah. Sorry, I've just on the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
On the Dortmund game in particular, as you what the Bundesliga. I watched the game. It was a little bit. One thing that struck me as a little bit strange.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just throw it out there and see what your kind of thoughts are. So there were no fans. I mean, I don't know. If you wonderful listeners and viewers and whatever you are now know much about football, the German league or Dortmund, but they have a great stadium, great fans, and it was a bit weird seeing it empty. But obviously there were so physios were there, the substitutes, things like that. The benches, there were people there. Sorry?
Technical stuff.
Yeah. So they were all there, sat 2 meters apart with their masks on.
They had masks on as well on the bench.
Yeah. So they sat there with masks on, 2 meters apart, and you've got 22 blokes running around rubbing each other's dicks on a football pitch. Like, couldn't be any closer to each other. Just like heavy breathing around each other. Can I just
clarify, Mike? Can I just clarify before we go any further? For anyone not familiar with Mike's vernacular, rubbing each other's dicks was not meant to be taken literally. That's the way Mike suggests that people are very close and in close contact with each other.
Now, I don't think we can say that there wasn't any of that. Can we? We've all been there. We've all been there. It's a corner, right? Right. Someone's about to take the corner. You're there. You've got, I don't know, some big fucking 9-foot centre half who you're never gonna win the fucking ball. It comes anywhere near you, he's going through you, the ball, the whole fucking lot. So you got what you're gonna do. Maybe stand on his foot, but he probably won't feel it. You just have a little fondle. Just put him off a little bit.
There you go. Part of Mike's toolbox for football games is sexual assault. There you go.
You got to do what you got to do. Really, the result's the important thing. So
Yeah. The result is you being put on the sex offenders list.
yeah, what will be will be. Yeah. Next.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was a bit strange.
what else? I was gonna go on to that. What else? What other strange customs did they practice during that game? Because I heard that there were potentially one or two very different things um, that were implemented in the games. Did you see anything else strange other than like the mask on the bench?
I'll be honest, I was a few beers in. A few beers in by that point. No, the strangest thing really for me was the mask, the sitting 2 meters apart on the benches and the masks that they were wearing. I don't remember too much else other than the fact it was fucking empty. The actual game itself seemed, obviously it was very strange, but the game itself seemed to play like a normal game.
See, I heard a rumor that they weren't allowed to like face each other when they tackled. Was that not true?
Nonsense.
So that's a baseless rumor.
That's a baseless rumor, yeah. That you can't face each other when so basically you have to tackle from behind.
Well, this was one of the things. I think it's because this was one of these ludicrous suggestions that was being drawn up to try and get the Premier League season up and running again. So I remember they saying things like, "We're not ruling anything out. We're not ruling anything out. 30-minute halves, no look tackling, rolling.
No look tackling.
Yeah, rolling substitutions." Playing with masks on, just utter bollocks. And I didn't know if any of that had been implemented in the Bundesliga, but
not that I saw.
Every one of the suggestions that I heard there, the response I had to it was all the same, which was just null the season. Why are we trying so hard? If we can't play football as it was intended to be played, as a proper competitive sport, why are we trying to do it at all? Are the teams that obviously are going to win trophies and whatever, are they really going to be proud that they finished the season completely different conditions than have been played for the majority of the season? The
feel like. Go on.
I was just saying the whole asterisk thing.
I knew it. It's all you haven't mentioned them. But you are talking about Liverpool. I know you are. I know you too well. You are talking about Liverpool. You haven't mentioned them.
No, but okay. Do you know what it is, Mike? Do I think that Liverpool would have comfortably won the league? Obviously. Do I think that if this hadn't happened, I would accept it? Of course, because that's how the competition works. I have this thing in the back of my head that it seems that people are not driven by practicalities. If people say, let's restart the season, that sounds fine. We'd all like football to come back, right? When people say, we've got to see this through, whatever, and everyone wants to see football again, that's true. That's completely true. But as soon as you start putting ridiculous conditions on it, like I say, with we'll disinfect the pitch afterwards, no look tackling, players can't shake hands even though they'll be embracing after the game.
They're in the showers together.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't agree with the venue thing as well. I think it's outrageous that you're talking about potentially clubs that could be relegated be playing their home games at neutral venues. it's completely unfair to teams that have a huge financial stake in staying in the league. So I don't agree with the neutral venue thing. I understand why it's been floated. It's all to stop crowds gathering, home crowds gathering, obviously. But then you can argue, what are the police for? Surely they can be put outside the ground and saying, get back to your places of domicile, because all the pubs will be closed anyway. So I don't agree at all with the neutral venue thing, again, for the competition integrity. But if that was the only difference with it, i.e. no crowds and neutral venues, I can kind of see a way in. As soon as you start putting other ridiculous things in, again, maybe these weren't being considered properly, but as soon as you start saying no look tackling, reduce the length of the halves, mess with the fabric of what the original game was, fuck it, why are we continuing? It's a joke. Just end the season, just null the season. Let's make sure we're all safe and start again, if not August, September, when hopefully, well, I to be honest, I can see a second spike coming as well, with the way that this has been handled. So, to be honest, I'd be gobsmacked if there was a way the Premier League could restart, even with those things put into place. I should just say, by the way, I can also understand the opposing arguments. So the opposing arguments are people like, for instance, the puffin that I'm speaking to right now, you, have continued to work in situations where you've inadvertently, not wanting to, but you've had to come into close contact with other people. So you're putting yourself at risk. Presumably you don't go to work in a hazmat suit. So you've put yourself at risk. Healthcare workers, obviously, particularly ones without PPE, are putting themselves at direct risk. Care workers, postal workers. These people have all been putting themselves at risk. Working class people, generally, putting themselves at great risk. And I understand the argument. They're fucking footballers. They'll get tested at the ground. They'll get the best care. Why don't they just bloody, grow a pair or whatever? I understand that argument.
I've not said that.
I'm not saying you did. I've heard it from some people. I understand that argument, but then also you then need to go back to it and say that's the same argument that drags us all down to a level rather than pulling us up to a level. The fact that postal workers and care workers and whatever are putting themselves at direct risk. Well, they have to because they're essential. That they have to keep working because society would collapse. The terrible thing about it is obviously the government has been so incompetent they're not providing them with protective equipment. But that's another question. They have to be at work because that's the job they chose. We can't function without those people, we've discussed this. So it is slightly different from the entertainment industry. So I do take that into account. I completely understand why people, say, why should they not do it when I'm having to do it every day? But at the same time, yeah, they're very rich and yeah, they could be testing and whatever, but, they still have families who, potentially could have vulnerable people within them that they could then pass the disease on to. And let's not forget, it's not just the footballers and the managers, the very highly paid people. You've also got, like you say, the physios, the coaches, the people who just the people who keep the floodlights on or the the things functioning on the ground, the kit man. These aren't wealthy people. They're going to have families potentially vulnerable people in, and that's why we have to keep reminding ourselves that contrary to, let's call them the dum-dums in this country and particularly in America, who say ridiculous things like, I don't care about the risk, I want my freedom, I'll take the risk of contracting coronavirus, to which you then have to say, it's not all about you. This isn't about you catching coronavirus, it's about you passing coronavirus to other people who didn't agree with you being a twat. Anyway, where were we on this?
Agreed.
Yeah, where were we on this? Anyway, my personal opinion is, yeah, we all want to get the Premier League started again. It will, I think, for a lot of people, probably calm their mental health a bit because they'll think things are getting back to hopefully things won't go back to exactly how they were because it was pretty shit. But getting back to a semblance of normality where people can rely on certain things in their lives, that's good. But if you're just going to rip up everything that football's about, physical contact, competitors, getting each other's faces, battling for the ball all game, 45-minute halves, these kind of things. If you mess with any of that, just don't bother. Just null the season. It's ridiculous to, you know. Anyway, what's your opinion, Mike?
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I think that there is no there is no good answer that everyone will be happy with. You just have to find the most preferable, the least shit solution. That any solution is shit, really, because the fact the whole thing happened is shit. The fact any football had to stop in the first place is shit.
The fact that Liverpool forced to win the league was shit.
Yes, but you just have to find the least shit solution, really. And whatever solution, let's get this clear. Whatever is decided, and however it's played out, and however it works, there will be disgruntled people who completely disagree with it for whatever reason. Some of them, regardless of what actually happens, will probably disagree for valid reasons. Like we said, there is no completely fair way of doing it anymore. There is no ideal scenario. You can't. It's just what is the least shit. What is the best way that actually will have the least negative impact, say, on football and the Football League as a whole? And you find that solution, and there are people paid a lot of fucking money to do it. Find that solution and go with that.
Or Mike,
go on.
Sorry, might I say more importantly though, Mike, the solution, yeah, you're completely right. Every solution is shit. But the solution has to prioritize people's health in the sense that there has to be the minimum possible chance that this could exacerbate the situation in terms of passing COVID-19 on. That's obviously, that must be the top priority, surely. Otherwise,
I agree. I agree that I think all decisions that are made across the board, not just football now, should be made with that particular set of priorities. So people's health. And for the most part, most decisions have been. The decision to stop football in the first place, for example, was completely that.
You could argue that it was possibly a little bit too late in the sense of allowing the Atletico Madrid fans to travel for the Liverpool tie, particularly when it was a hotspot of COVID-19 at the time.
Okay, so you can say they did it too late, too early, whatever you like. The fact is, the reason it was stopped was for health. I'm just conscious of the fact that actually, and not just football now, decisions are less and less. The more time that goes on, I feel like the less and less likely public health is going to be the sole motivation.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think
so. For example, the Bundesliga for a start.
Yeah.
That didn't start to save lives. The Bundesliga hasn't started again because that's the best thing for public health.
No, but that's not what I said, was it? It was.
No.
That there has to be an absolutely negligible threat, as in it has to be squashed down to the lowest possible threat level.
I agree that should be how the all decisions at the moment, really, most are made. Is this best thing for the health of the public and people as individuals? But I'm just, the realist in me is aware that actually that might not be the case. And the longer that it goes on, the less and less likely that is to be the case with every single decision.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And let's not forget, Mike, this could lead to serious litigation if the season is allowed to finish, say with neutral venues particularly. Every team that's delegating will probably sue the leagues. Because they no, but the thing is, what they will say is we were quite happy suspending play when it meant saving lives, but because at the moment, from what I hear, they've suggested the neutral venues thing, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, I think 14 out of the 20 clubs representatives need to agree to this neutral venue. And I think at the moment there's 3 clubs that have officially opposed it. Officially. So it hasn't come down to a vote yet. So it doesn't take a lot of imagination to think that another 3 clubs could. Obviously, you would imagine the clubs most under threat from relegation. But if, I'm not sure whether it's 6 clubs can oppose it and it's still passed, or it has to be 7 clubs opposing it to stop it passing. But anyway, it could still be rejected. And if it isn't rejected, say you get a situation where 5 clubs oppose it, right, and they still force it through, then obviously the clubs that are relegated are then going to take litigation against the Premier League. Obviously.
Possibly, although I think the league, and obviously there are different organisations that operate within the kind of the football world, not just the clubs individually. But generally, I think they'll make sure there's something in place to protect any clubs that are, what am I trying to say? So I think they will protect clubs to a degree. There will be, like when you get relegated from the Premier League, you get the parachute payments, right? There'll be a Corona version of that.
Really? You think the Premier League is going to fork that out?
Yes, I do. In these circumstances, yes, I do.
Because there's talk about whether Sky or BT or whoever it is, the broadcasters would demand some of their money back. Because, for instance, I've heard that when the remaining Premier League games are finally scheduled, at the moment, I think that is almost certainly going to happen because if the Bundesliga restarts, it is going to be incredibly difficult for the Premier League to turn around and go, well, they restarted, but we can't. You know what I mean? Once one big league is restarted, the difference being though that, I hate to flog it, I hate to say this over and over again, but Germany have handled this very well. We have handled the pandemic really badly. We have an incredible death toll, and it's not under control. We still haven't got a proper system in place. So, we're comparing oranges with apples in the sense that if we say, oh, the Bundesliga can get their act together, why can't we? Well, maybe because Bundesliga has a government that actually is competent and has got, the pandemic under control. But you know what I mean? I'm concerned with people's health, really. You can't say, oh, well, because the Bundesliga restarts, that proves that there's not really a risk. Well,
no, I agree. But we know there will be people that will have that opinion.
Yeah, we grow.
There's nothing you can do about
that. Okay, so I think we're probably agreed that the season will almost inevitably be restarted, I would have thought, at some stage. So the question is, Mike, do you think how do you think it should affect next season? So, for instance, at the moment, it seems like the only safe time for the season to restart, the earliest safe time to restart will probably be mid-June, because the Premier League clubs demanded we need to get players fit. I'm not quite sure how that works when they've got top-of-the-line fitness equipment. Match fitness is different, obviously, but all the clubs will be at the same stage. So anyway, they say they have to get some kind of match fitness. But again, you're then talking about they have to approve training in groups, which is another thing. So it depends. At the moment, it looks like maybe they'll approve training in groups next week, maybe beginning of June, which would indicate that maybe mid-June they'll try and start the season again. Now, luckily the Euros have been postponed, so there would have been a free summer. So do you think it's fine if we restart in mid-June, finish? I mean, I don't know. I would imagine they'll try to finish by mid-July. You would have thought that they'd try and get it done in a month if they could. But then there's the question of, too many games in too short a time. Will they maybe try and stretch out to the end of July? But then if they stretch out to the end of July, when's the next season going to start? Because presumably you'd say we still want some kind of a summer break, even if it's 2 weeks before we go back into pre-season training. I don't know. How do you think it'll work? I've heard some people suggest maybe the season's postponed until September, the start of the season. I'm not sure how that would work, though, because, in fact, I say I'm not sure how that would work because of the World Cup, but the World Cup's supposed to be played in the winter, isn't it?
Yeah. The whole world's fucking crazy. And it was crazy, let's be honest, before this.
Yeah. The interesting thing, maybe, Mike, is it's helped us realise how crazy the world is and how, we shouldn't just be on a treadmill all the time. Like everything has to happen now and this time and this time and this time and this time. Sometimes things crop up where you have to step back and just take stock.
Sometimes you have a global pandemic.
Yeah, and it's okay now and again to say, we're just going to retreat and rethink things. It's like scheduling so much stuff all the time, so you have to be on a constant treadmill to meet the deadlines of, I'm talking about top level football mainly. I've no idea how they're going to figure this out in terms of the next season, then the World Cup, then the European Championships.
I think whatever decision they make needs to be, obviously, we already said that public health needs to be priority numero uno, right? It's a given, should be a given for anyone involved in any part of the decision-making process. But I also think that there needs to be a big emphasis on how can we negate any negative effect, or as much as possible, on future seasons. So basically, unless you want to fuck up 2 seasons, so this would be an argument for your null the whole fucking thing. Unless, if we end up pushing back the start of next season, we might have to anyway, but if we do it unnecessarily, or for whatever reason, we cram in when we play the games, or however we make any real kind of changes to next season, in effect, we're fucking up 2 seasons, aren't we? Because then next season you can go, well, yeah, okay, fine, we got relegated, or we didn't win the league, or we only came 8th, or whatever it is. But this season wasn't normal either. We had to play all these midweek games, or we had to play, in different circumstances. We started later. We believe that benefited them and not us, or whatever. We need to accept. I think there needs to be a degree of acceptance that this season is fucked. Yeah, it's done. You now either you can. That doesn't matter what you do with it. That you have to accept that. So you can end it now and say, Liverpool, you champions. Leeds, well done, or whatever you do, right? Or you can end it now and say, fuck it. It never happened. What season? Eh?
What season?
You can do that. Whatever you do.
there is precedent for this. This has happened before. I think it happened in 1938. The season started, and then obviously was cancelled because of World War Two.
Yeah.
Although I believe only about 8 or 9 games had been played at that point. But you see what I mean? Some things are more important than football. And are we kind of saying, well,
are they? Yeah, of course.
Although I don't know who it was. In fact, it might have been Jurgen Klopp who said, well, I'm sure he didn't say it originally, but somebody said something quite eloquent, which is football is the most important of the least important things. I thought was quite a good way of putting it. So yeah, we both don't really have any. Because sorry, just to labour the point a little bit, but so let's say for instance, this is what we're looking at over the next 18 months to 2 years, if this plan goes ahead. So we start training beginning of June, right? We play again. Premier League restarts mid-June, finishes mid to end July. Let's say end of July.
Okay.
Finishes end of July.
Yeah.
And then they say we need to push back the start of next season to give a bit of rest time. But even a rest, it's just a month. So August is blank. We start again beginning of September. So the players have had what? A week, maybe 2 rest before pre-season training again. Then in the winter of I guess in the summer you then have a little bit of a break. And then presumably you start the next season earlier because you then have a winter break to play the World Cup. Do you see what I mean? There's going to be hardly a... Oh, and how do you catch up with all the European Championship qualifiers? Sorry, how do you catch up with the European Championships and the World Cup qualifiers that haven't been played?
I think what we can agree is that there's a lot of things to consider. And, each decision will inevitably have a knock-on effect on, the other factors, the other things that, what the Premier League decides to do will have an effect probably on how the Euros are likely to go for us anyway. What are they going to do with the Euros anyway? Are we going to send everyone across Europe? Even next year, is that a good idea?
There you go. Well, what I just said, Mike, what did I just say? I said, oh, well, at least you'd have the summer off before the World Cup. You wouldn't, would you? Because that's when the Euros are supposed to be held.
Yeah. So
we would effectively be saying to players, have a couple of weeks off in August, and then we'll see you beginning of September for a lot of you top level players to have non-stop football until 2023. No breaks. Season, weeks rest. Euros, weeks rest. Season, mid-season break. World Cup.
Well, look, whatever we do with this season, that's already kind of going to be the case.
Well, yeah,
the
Euros, that was what it is.
Yeah, the Euros decision is already made. So, whatever the Premier League do with this season and the other, big European leagues, obviously Bundesliga aside, but whatever they do, that's already going to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, I don't know. I'm probably willing to think about it some more. Should they want to come and pay me some wedge? Yeah, if they want me to make the decision for them, I'll do it. I'll shoulder that responsibility.
I'm sure.
I expect to be paid handsomely for it.
I'm sure you're the first person on their list, Mike, who they're going to come to ask the question.
Well, I fucking should be.
I thought
Who's going to sort this out for us? Mike Large. Mike Large will sort this out.
Yeah.
Get Large on the phone. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, when he's not growing there, he's going to be able to give you a hand.
Oh, well, I can multitask.
On that note, Mike, we've kind of come about full circle. We've discussed all these permutations and come to the conclusion that we don't fucking know what's going to happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, if people
Yeah.
have played handsomely don't know, then I'm sure we don't. I think we can probably say with some certainty that the Premier League will probably restart at some point. Whether it's going to be safe to do so, I don't know. I don't think it probably is, but there you go, money talks. So I'm sure sometime in mid-June we'll have some kind of football again. Rest in peace, Dennington Town season, because we apparently weren't good enough. Of thinking of having a mid-season break and then restarting again. So
I mean, I'll be honest. There's no fucking way I could cram in the end of the season, start next season. My body can't do that anymore.
anymore.
Fuck you very much. I could have done that.
Right.
Not anymore. I can't get through a fucking normal season anyway.
No.
Let alone try and play too.
I should just say, as a closing thought for myself, Mike, I'll give you a chance in a second.
Go on.
Closing thought to myself. Do you remember what I told you the other week? How sad I sounded. I've ordered a football.
Yay!
I've got a brand new football. I feel like I did when I was like 13 and I was waiting for one for Christmas. So hopefully next few days, sometime this week, I'll get the big bad new football, get it pumped up, and I'll be pissing around in my garden. So at least I'll have something to do. And then when it's kind of late in the evening and I don't think anyone's around, I'll probably sneak up the field to have some practice in the goal frames. So that'll be fun. It's been a long time.
What are the rules on that?
Rules on what?
Like playing football at the field or whatever.
Well, I mean, this is if we give any kind of credibility to the rules that are apparently drawn up. But from what I understand is you're allowed to play with people from your household. If you play any kind of sport with people outside your household, social distancing at all times, and it must be outside.
So, me and you could go to the Wimble Centre with your new football, stand a football pitch apart,
if one of us
and ping balls at each other.
Yeah, if one of us was in goal and the other was taking pot shots, yeah, that could work. I'll tell you something, Mike. I've been taking cycling now and again up and down the road. Went past the Wimble Centre at the weekend. Didn't look like anyone was applying social distancing. There were kids on the there were kids on the 6 side. Half a dozen families looked like they were relatively mingling together. So like you were saying, I don't think a lot of them had common sense or were applying the rules as the government apparently thinks that they're clear. But yeah, come over, meet me at the windmill. We'll do some shooting practice.
Football at the weekend.
Gonna score a goal. Any closing thoughts, Mike, before we wrap it up for tonight?
No, I think we've rambled for long enough. We've said what we needed to say. All I would say is Premier League, give me a call, whatever. But no, just stay safe, stay socially distant, stay responsible. Take responsibility for your own safety as well as others, and
keep growing dirty.
No, I'm joking. No, it is important people stay safe though. So
yeah. Keep washing your hands, you grubby bastard. And we will hopefully agree next week. We might try and expand our repertoire of subjects outside of lockdown, but we were trying to keep it relevant to lockdown. By the way, Mike, do you like the way
everything is at the minute?
Yeah. Do you like the way the video links work, where you've got a nice bright background and a lot of light, and I've just gradually got darker and darker until you can hardly see me. Yeah,
I'm sure the viewers would appreciate that as well.
Yeah, the passing of time and such. Right, I'll grow you next week, Michael, and stay safe, people. We will catch you soon.